couple of years ago, I made a series about Automobile Association landing grounds, based on the last guide that was published in 1938. There were 81 sites spread over 16 episodes. I visited the two Cornish sites in person, the most westerly, near Hale, by Aronka with my younger son. That was in August 2022. You can tell it's August. The windscreen's covered in rain. A month later, whilst returning home from Lymm in Kent, I flew over the landing ground at Whitley Park, now disused but still open well into the 1980s. I'm the first to admit that AA landing grounds are rather an esoteric subject, but it was always my intention to update the information as it came to light. I chanced upon this newspaper cutting recently. It shows a list of airfields that were added to the 1933 guide. All but one was subsequently in the 1938 guide as well. The exception was the landing ground at Eastbourne, which had opened as Wilmington Aerodrome in 1932. The aerodrome, being in an ideal location adjacent to the main road from Lewes to Eastbourne, had two hangars, a magnificent Art Deco clubhouse and cafe, and generally a run of 500 yards in most directions. It proved instantly popular. In 1940, the land was requisitioned by the Ministry of Agriculture, and in spite of requests, they refused to relinquish control in the post-war period. The fine clubhouse was used as farm worker accommodation, but was demolished in the 1960s. One hangar still remains. In the late 1980s, the Tiger Club, facing eviction from Redhill Aerodrome in Surrey, tried to reopen Wilmington as a base for their small fleet of aircraft. After several attempts and a subsequent public inquiry, their planning application was refused. Another landing ground mentioned in that newspaper cutting was that belonging to the Duchess of Bedford at Wispers, a large country house near Midhurst in Sussex. Employing a personal pilot, the Duchess had been flying since the mid-1920s, but in 1931, aged 65, she qualified for her Royal Aero Club certificate. A hangar had been constructed at Wispers in 1929, and the Duchess used it regularly until her death in a flying accident in March 1937. The Duchess is presumed to have drowned in the North Sea on the 22nd of March. 2 years later, the Wispers estate was sold, the main house becoming a school. The former hangar was used as a gymnasium and sometimes theatre by the school, but in recent years was under threat of demolition. Fortunately, demolition did not take place, and the building was sold to its present owners a few years ago. Whilst researching the history of their property, they came across my earlier piece about Wispers and contacted me with an update. Planning permission has now been granted to turn the old hangar into a home, and as much of the original structure is being retained as possible, including the original steel frame, supplied by the Skinning Row Steelworks of North Yorkshire. The concrete apron is to be retained as part of the garden, but the asbestos cladding, which is spalling badly, is going to be replaced with wood. The near 100-year-old hangar is going to make a very fine contemporary home. I have been invited for a site visit, which I hope to do soon. For the record, there's only one original hangar still being used as an aircraft hangar on any AA landing ground, that at Newnham Grounds near Daventry. A further 3 hangars are known to still exist. That's at Kyneton, Combermere Abbey and the newly discovered Wilmington. All are in agricultural use and increasing states of dereliction, so it's really good to see one building being restored. Thank you for watching.